I'm Andrew Ivanme, sitting in for Ian McIntyre.
And this is episode 2 of Fan vs. Fan for The Flash.
Something out there is saving people. The driver who was shot said that a Crimson Angel brought him to the hospital.
You think because you can run real fast that you're invincible? You're not.
So in episode 2 of The Flash, it's called Fastest Man Alive, and we open up with Barry just fighting a lot of crime. Just stopping house fires, getting muggers, and Cisco's on board, but everyone else that he knows doesn't want him to be fighting these crimes. Joe thinks it's dangerous, Harrison thinks he's going too hard, Caitlin just likes to yell.
Then we got Multiplex coming into the plot line, and previous employee of Simon Stagg, who stole his technology, and he just wanted his wife to live.
He did, and so Multiplex, as his name implies, his terrible name, he can multiply himself. Barry has to fight Multiplex, and he actually has his first kind of loss, which is, second episode, it's gotta happen. And he starts to doubt himself a bit. And then he needs every single person in the episode who also doubted him to flip back around and start to believe in him. So Andrew, what did you like for pros about this episode?
For pros about this episode, I think there were quite a few. One thing that I loved right away was I feel like the dialogue took a really big step up from episode 1. They do feel now like characters that have known each other for years, whereas episode 1, they felt like some people who just met at a coffee shop. It almost feels like a very comfortable, friendly aside to be like, just go a little bit easy on her, she did lose her fiancé, as opposed to episode 1 having a character come into the room and saying, I lost my fiancé, so I'm a little emotional, so be careful around me. Another pro of this episode that I absolutely love is Tom Cavanaugh's performance as Harrison. He's playing a character from the future who knows the entire storyline of Barry, and who at the same time is also playing a character within a character, pretending to be paralyzed, pretending to not know, pretending to be more friendly and not from the future. Like, there is so many levels to this, but he hits every single one, whether it be charming or menacing or friendly or concerned, he hits it all. Cavanaugh is doing a really good job in this role.
Totally agree.
So let me ask you, though, what did you like about this episode? What are you feeling right now?
From a comic book fan point of view, I really liked that we introduced a lot of comic book elements this episode that I thought were missing in the first episode. The most obvious thing to me is Iris going into journalism. In the comic books, Iris is just the top crime reporter in the city, and she always has been. When we meet her, she's already that. So in the pilot, it was kind of jarring that she wasn't involved in journalism in any way. Other things I liked, though, were just the introduction of the idea that Barry needs to eat a lot to keep up his energy. It's such a basic idea, but it can bring so much humor to situations. Like, I was disappointed when Joe brought him pizzas at the end, that when he turned around, the pizzas weren't just gone immediately. I love the idea that Barry has to eat so much to keep up his energy. It's just such a fun element. Alright, so what didn't you like about The Flash episode 2?
What I highly didn't like about The Flash episode 2 was Danielle Panabaker's performance as Caitlin. There were 2 different scenes where she gets mad at Barry, or what's supposed to be mad. It really comes off as mildly agitated more than anything. Both times it occurred, another character had to walk into the room and explain that the emotion she was just conveying was anger. No one else should have to come into the room and say, that was an angry person. That feels like very high school drama club thing to do.
Was there anything else? What else was hitting you low?
I'm not gonna lie to you, the whole pinboard thing kind of bothered me. The whole pinboard of trying to find out your mother's murder with a pinboard that you keep at your workplace.
His workplace that is at a crime lab.
Where does he live? We still haven't seen where he lives. If I'm investigating my mother's murder, I'm not going to leave it on a pinboard that is only slightly hidden. It's not like a pull a thing and a wall rotates. It's behind a pulley-uppy thing for a projector screen. There's no projector in the room.
It's a crime lab at the police office. There's police stuff he can use.
Yeah,
he needs it there.
Where your adoptive dad hangs out all of the time and doesn't want you researching your mother's murder. That seems you're a grown man with a full-time job. With a pulley down, pulley up. Have you ever tried to keep one of those things down? Have you ever gone to a projector screen and tried to get it to stay down 4 dozen times before you give up on a presentation?
You know what? I'm going to say that Barry's smarter than me and has figured it out.
He's figured out pulley-uppy downboard things.
Yeah.
I'm really going to need to learn the word for this.
Barry sees in Sherlock vision. I'm sure he's figured out the pulley-uppy downboard.
All right.
Damn it, I'm saying it now.
Yeah, there we go. What didn't you like?
What didn't I like? Alright, I actually wasn't a big fan. I thought Barry's powers were displayed inconsistently.
Okay.
In the opening of the episode, he overshoots his goal by 6 blocks of where he's trying to get, and I thought that was really dumb, because when Barry runs, as we actually see later in the episode, when he goes into Speed Force time, things slow down for him. So to miss his place by 6 blocks, when to him he's just strolling, is kind of stupid.
Right, in a 6-block run, he could have also read War and Peace.
I really loved the Iris scene, where time slowed down when he went into speed time,
Oh,
when she
okay.
poured the sugar.
Okay.
That, I think, is exactly how you should portray Flash's speed. And then later, it got kind of portrayed wrong again, because Multiplex was able to punch him. And when people can punch the Flash, I feel like it's okay if he didn't know it was coming, because he has to like go into Flash mode to enable to be fast. But when he's in the middle of a fight with a bunch of dudes, and then is in his Speed Force, and then they can punch him, I'm like, so you decided to let that guy punch you instead of like running to China or
He
something?
could have been in China. In
You
that
literally
period of
could
time.
have gotten to China
He could have been in China.
in the time that guy punched you.
Yeah, he could have been in Japan appreciating the fall of cherry blossoms, but instead he got punched.
Yeah. Alright, let's talk about Easter eggs. Things we learned in this episode, things we saw, cool stuff. Alright, so first of all was Simon Stagg, which I'm kind of really conflicted about, because Simon Stagg in the comic books is basically the reason that the character Metamorpho is created. He's the reason Metamorpho, the guy who can change into any element, shows up, and he kind of kills him, because he's protective of his daughter, Sapphire. And Simon Stagg's main character trait is being protective of his daughter, and she doesn't appear at all.
Mhm.
Metamorpho doesn't get
No
created,
Metamorpho,
and
no.
he seems like a character that could really fit on this show.
It would fit into the world really well. Like, it's a
And-
smooth transition.
Yeah, and the guy who creates him is already dead.
Right.
So, you know, I can see the daughter maybe coming in later to kind of fill this void, but it just seems super early and to kill him right now. Another little Easter egg is that his bodyguard, Mr. Java, is actually a comic book character. But in the comic books, he's actually a Neanderthal, which might explain his terrible acting.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Great.
Yeah, very monosyllabic, that's for sure.
Alright, another character we met this episode was Danton Black, who's also known as Multiplex. And this is kind of exactly like Stagg. Seems like a really missed opportunity, because he dies in this episode. Supposedly, he can multiply himself, so I wouldn't be surprised if he came back to life.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back to life. I hope he does, because I think visually it was very well done. It got very overwhelming at times, which I actually really kind of enjoyed, and that's
Yeah,
how
you're like-
you need to get to the Flash, is to be overwhelming to the point of just nonsensical understanding.
Yeah, it was very Matrixy for a long time.
It was the
very
Burly Brawl from
Agent
Reload.
Smith.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But the thing about Multiplex is Multiplex actually isn't a Flash rogue. He is actually the #1 villain for Firestorm. And we know we're meeting Firestorm later this season. That's already been announced. So to kill off Firestorm's major villain before we meet Firestorm, again, feels like a missed opportunity for later down the line.
That's true, but it could potentially be a really good plot point for a little bit further down the line as well, because if they were able to clone him in the laboratory, if they were able to regrow and recreate him, it's possible that they might be able to bring him back by implanting his consciousness into one of his body husks,
Yeah,
of
or
which he left thousands in that courtyard.
Thousands of them!
So if he can get back into one of those body husks, he's back again.
And, our final Easter egg is the Cosmic Treadmill. Well, it wasn't Cosmic yet. Right now it was just a treadmill that was hilarious. But,
It's still better than a normal treadmill.
still better than a
It's
normal
not
treadmill.
just a treadmill.
It's not just because it can hold the Flash, and
Mhm.
Barry ran on it, and he fell off of it. But of course, I imagine in the future, Cisco or Harrison is going to modify that treadmill, and we are going to have time travel, and it's going to become a cosmic treadmill, and it's going to be great. So let's talk about Harrison Wells. At the very end of this episode, we find out that he used to be a guy who just had secrets, and we basically find out he's a villain now. He's killed Simon Stagg, who, as far as we know, really didn't deserve that shiv in the stomach. I'm gonna go with Shiv.
Yeah.
That was
You
pretty
went with
shivy.
Shiv? Yeah. Rich man didn't own a knife. No, he whittled down a toothbrush. All right.
Yeah, that's how Harrison Wells does it from the
Okay.
future. So now we're like, what's up with Harrison Wells? And I'm pretty much 100% confident now that Harrison Wells is the Reverse Flash, also known as Professor Zoom, also known as the yellow thing that killed Barry's mom.
Okay.
And I feel pretty confident in this. If you read the comic books, what you know about Reverse Flash is that he's from the future, which we've established Harrison Wells is, and he's a really big fan of Barry Allen. And he learns to and he finds a way to give himself Flash powers because of his love of Barry Allen. Comes back and he meets Barry, things don't go well, and they become enemy and hero. Now, the thing about Reverse Flash is he can't kill Barry Allen. Because of time travel, if he kills Barry, he never becomes Reverse Flash, which makes them a great enemy-hero dynamic.
That is really good. That's a great protagonist then in that scenario.
Yeah, he can't kill him. So Harrison Wells needs to make sure Barry becomes a hero, but also stays alive so he can become Reverse Flash.
Okay.
Which explains why he encourages him, but wants to keep him safe, why he kills people.
Right.
And yeah, and probably why he also Tom Cavanaugh just has the exact build of Reverse Flash. Like, look at him, he looks like a Flash. You know when Barry shows up at the crime scene?
Yeah, he's showing up late, and he shows up still in his Flash uniform.
And then he goes and I think he stole those clothes. He goes into there's a fat clothing store right next to the crime scene, and he goes and he steals some clothes.
He comes back, the clothes still have a tag on it, and they just never bring it up. He is just a petty thief now. I'm hoping that he did have some kind of money on him, because here's something that I actually feel like was lacking from that moment, and it would have been fantastic, is I feel like there could have been a really good establishing moment for Barry's character and personality if it had have shown him in the Flash costume. He needs clothes, he sees a clothing shop, just a blur runs in there, and then cut to cashier, and just some cash and some change spinning on the counter, that he still paid for it, just to imply that he paid for it still makes him that establishes him better. He's a charming, likable person. He did what he needs to do to hide his identity, but he still left money on the counter. 3-second cut would have made him so much better of a person.
Nice. I don't believe he had money on him, but I think it would have been funny if he took like Joe's wallet and he was
money
like, "I'll
in
pay." He doesn't have money in his Flash
money in
costume.
there.
Why would he have money in his Flash costume?
Why wouldn't you have money in your Flash costume?
Because everything in your costume burns. It isn't made of crazy material.
Well, it's underneath the non-burning material.
Your understanding of physics through this whole thing has just been...
There's like a breast pocket on the inside, I'm assuming.
So that you're okay with, but the pulley-uppy-down thing?
Pulley-uppy-down thing doesn't work!
So this was episode 2 of Fan vs. Fan for The Flash. Thank you for watching. I'm Diana McCullum.
I'm Andrew Agnew, filling in for Ian McIntyre.
And we're also the creators of Text from Superheroes, the webcomic, if you want to check that out. And so yeah, comment below, let us know what you think. We'll read some comments next week maybe. And you can check us out at Dork Shop.
And be sure to subscribe right here.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Kicked him out.